Welcome to the Cheating Secrets channel. We hope you enjoy today's story. Ron Wiseman couldn't wait to get back home to Amy, his beloved wife of 10 years. She wasn't just a beautiful woman who kept herself in great shape, but also a fantastic cook, and the best lover a man could wish for. The day before, Amy mentioned that she would like to invite her new boss, Mike Armstrong, over for dinner. According to her, he wanted to meet her husband and get a feel for her family's atmosphere. Ron saw nothing wrong with it and said he would like to meet her new boss, especially since the last two people in that position had not lasted long and left under somewhat mysterious circumstances. The very last person in that position quit after just a few months, claiming he needed an extended creative break in Sri Lanka to find himself, and the person before him was found decapitated in his garage with his hands tied behind his back. The police declared it a suicide, but his genitals, which had been surgically removed, were never found. Ron noticed the time and sent a message to his wife before locking his office, letting her know that he was already on his way. Her response came instantly. Ron said goodbye to his secretary and headed home, only stopping to buy a bouquet of roses for his wife. He enjoyed doing things like that to surprise her, and she loved receiving tokens of his love. She also liked thanking him for small gifts. Ron turned onto the driveway leading to his house, noticing a black Mercedes parked by the curb in front of his home. At least this person had the sense to stay away from my driveway, Ron thought to himself. He entered the house and saw a well-dressed man in his mid-40s sitting on the couch. Ron sized him up. He was quite tall, appeared to be in good shape, with a hint of gray at his temples. He was cleanly shaven, and there was a perpetual smirk playing on his face. He stood up with a crooked smile as Ron entered the room and extended his hand. Ron shook it before apologizing. He went to the kitchen and handed Amy the bouquet before enveloping her in his arms. Her face lit up as she took the flowers. "I'll have to properly thank you for this later," she whispered. Ron kissed his wife's pretty face, placing his hand on her backside. "Now, be a good host and go say hello to Mike," she said. Ron kissed her again and returned to the living room. He approached his bar with drinks and offered Mike a glass of whiskey, which he accepted. The two men sat in the living room after Ron poured the drinks. "You've got quite a wife," Mike remarked, his smirk becoming even more noticeable. "I have to agree," Ron said. "She's the meaning of my life." "Then I suppose you'll understand why." "I'm about to tell you what I'm going to do," said Mike. "Really?" Ron asked. "What is it?" "I'm going to fuck your pretty wife," Mike said. "She'll enjoy it and you'll watch." "Hold that thought for a second," Ron said. "I'll be right back." He walked into the kitchen. "I'm going to show Mike around a bit," he said. "We'll be back soon." Amy gave him a knowing look. "Don't be long, dear," she said. "Dinner will be ready in about 15 or 20 minutes. "Great," Ron said. He returned to the front room. "I hope you didn't tell your wife what I said," Mike said. Ron shook his head. No, said Ron. "Let's go to my cave, okay?" he said, gesturing for Mike to follow him. Mike stood up and followed Ron into his office, also known as his personal man cave. Mike looked around at what adorned the walls. In addition to photos on the wall, there were several official commendations, medals, knives, and guns, as well as a few swords. "So you're planning to fuck my wife, huh?" Ron asked. Mike nodded. "Yes, I am," he said, grinning. "Do you have a problem with that?" "I take it my wife never told you about me," Ron said. "She told me you're an accountant who does research for some special operations group," he said. "Yes," said Ron. "That's true. I am a certified accountant, and yes, I do work for a combined federal and private operations group, but I haven't always been an accountant." "Oh," said Mike. Ron pointed to the items on the wall. "You know, I used to serve in the military. Back then I was a scout sniper," Ron said. "Most of my 150 confirmed sniper kills were at distances of 300 to 600 meters. But I successfully hit targets at up to 1,200 meters. That's over a kilometer, and at that distance, you'll never hear the shot. 1 second you're alive and breathing, and the next, you're dead." He pulled out a drawer from his desk and ran his hands over his knife collection. Mike was getting uncomfortable by this point, and it got worse when Ron pulled out a very large knife. "I'm also quite fond of close-range kills," he said, holding the sharp blade so Mike could see it. There's nothing like seeing your enemy take their last breath up close and personal. Mike's face went pale, and his smirk disappeared. Listen, Ron, this is nothing personal, Mike muttered. Oh, but it is personal, Mike, said Ron. You just told me you're going to fuck my wife and expect me to watch. That makes it very personal for me. I just want you to know what you're risking. You see, I believe in the old saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I'm sure you understand. He glanced at his watch. Oh, I think dinner will be ready soon. We'd better head back, he said. Mike nodded and watched in horror as Ron threw a knife at a thick target on the far wall. The knife hit dead center before embedding halfway. I like to practice, Ron said to Mike, who was now pale as ash. They made their way to the dining room, where Amy had set the table for three, placing the bouquet Ron had brought home in the center. As always, she seated Ron at the head of the table, Mike to his left, and herself to his right. They sat down, and Ron took Amy's hand. He extended his hand to Mike. We like to say a prayer before meals, he said. Mike cautiously took Ron's hand. Amy and Ron bowed their heads and closed their eyes. Mike followed suit, unsure of what to expect. Lord, said Ron, thank you for this food we're about to eat. Thank you for your many blessings on our home and family. May you continue to bless us with your wisdom and grace. Amen. I hope everyone enjoys this, said Amy, uncovering the plates to reveal juicy Cornish hen, one of Ron's favorite dishes. I started cooking it on a slow fire this morning. It's delightful, dear, said Ron, taking a big bite. Don't you agree, Mike? Mike nervously nodded. In agreement. Yes, it's very tasty, he said. You cook wonderfully, Amy. Ron noticed Mike nervously looking at him as he praised Amy's cooking. Don't worry, Mike, he said. I never kill anyone at the dinner table, do I, dear? Mike's face turned pale as Amy nodded. Approvingly. Not without good reason, she said. It can get quite messy, and I really don't like having to scrub blood off the tablecloth, she added. After all, it's over 100 years old. By the way, dear, said Ron, Mike told me he plans to fuck you, and he wants me to watch. Did you know anything about this? Really? Asked Amy. No, he's never mentioned anything like that to me. She looked at Mike. Is that true, Mike? Are you planning to fuck me? Please, Amy, I never said that. Maybe your husband misunderstood me, said Mike, shaking his head. Ron pulled out a tiny digital recorder and pressed the button. I'm going to fuck your pretty wife, Mike's voice said. She'll enjoy it, and you'll watch. Mike's face reddened as Amy shook her head. What's gotten into you? Asked Amy. We welcome you into our home, feed you, offer our hospitality, and this is how you repay us? Please, said Mike. It was just a joke. I was just kidding. Well, there you have it, dear, said Ron. It was just a joke. I don't know, she said. What's the climax? I'm not laughing. Listen, that's not what I meant, Mike said, raising his hands. Really? Is this what you told the husband of your last ex-wife you slept with? Ron asked. What are you talking about? Mike asked. I told you, I'm an investigator. I checked you out when Amy told me about you, Ron said. According to my findings, you were quietly let go from ASM Enterprises 3 months ago after being named in a civil suit for alienation of affection. The man who filed that suit was the husband of the woman you were involved with, who divorced him after catching you both naked in a hotel room. Mike looked down at his plight. Is that true? Amy asked Mike. Yes, Mike said quietly. I did something I'm not proud of, but it's all in the past. Speaking of the past, Ron said, I also found out that Mike's ex-wife got so tired of his infidelity that she joined a group called the Marriage Mutual Assurance Society, or MMES. Isn't that right, Mike? Yes, it's true, he said. I even saw the video recording of the punishment she was going to impose on him, Ron told Amy. Actually quite cruel. I would have thought that would make you change your ways, but it didn't. Did it, Mike? Mike looked at him in shock. How do you know about this? He asked. It was supposed to stay secret. Mike, said Ron, shaking his head. I told you, I'm an investigator. I have access to information you wouldn't believe. It was my task force that stood up for your wife on her behalf. Don't you remember? Ron looked at Amy. After we contacted his wife, she agreed to give him a choice. Either he accepts the punishment and stays in the marriage or agrees to a fair divorce settlement. I think he didn't want that humiliation, so he agreed to the divorce. Ron looked back at Mike. You know, You really dodged a bullet with that one, he said. What punishment was she going to impose on him? Asked Amy. That's cruel, Ron said. They would tie Mike up and brutally beat his balls off. They would have made him watch his wife have sex with several men and then made him drink the juices of those men out of her. She would have branded him and used him as her pony. Not a pretty sight. Amy said. Branded, huh? Yeah, said Ron. Right on his ass. Slowly. Mike grimaced at the memory. And your group saved his ass? Amy asked. Ron nodded. Unfortunately, clearly, he didn't learn his lesson, Ron said. Maybe we should teach him that. Lesson, Amy said. Here, tonight. Ron nodded. Perhaps you stumbled upon something dear, he said. He looked at Mike, who was shaking his head vigorously. No, please, don't do this, he pleaded, shifting his gaze from Ron to Amy. Why not? Ron asked. Obviously, you didn't get the message before. Maybe we should teach you that it's not okay to sleep other men's wives. I still have your ex-wife's number. Perhaps we should invite her over to help teach you a lesson? And I have plenty of things I can use to inflict a lot of pain on you, Ron said, looking at Amy. You know, I still have that knife. Throwing board in the basement, he said. What are you talking about? Mike said. You know, one of those moving boards used in knife throwing art. You must have seen them. They sometimes strap a half-naked assistant to the board, and the thrower has to get the knives as close as possible without hitting her. I think it's called the Wheel of Death. We could strip Mike naked, tie him spread eagle to the board, and see how close we can get to his balls without cutting them off, he said. He looked at Mike. Wouldn't that be fun? He asked. You know, Amy is pretty good at throwing knives too, but not as good as me. Is that the spinning board? Amy asked. Ron nodded. Oh yes, that would be fun. We could place bets to see who gets closest. She looked at Mike. Come on, Mike. It would be awesome. Mike jumped out of his chair, his face pale, eyes wide open, and his body physically shaking with horror. No, he said. You people are insane. Listen, it was just a joke. Please forget I said anything. He tried to turn away, but Ron grabbed him, turned him around, and pressed him against the wall. Keeping a hand on Mike's throat, Amy joined him with a two-pronged serving fork in her hand. Sorry, buddy. We're not joking, Ron said. Please, pleaded Mike. What do I have to do to make this stop? It's simple, Ron said. From now on, you'll forget any thought of sleeping with my wife or any other wife except your own. You'll embody professionalism, no more working late, and certainly no more business trips out of town with Amy if I'm not there. And you'll treat every woman with the respect she deserves. And that's it? Mike asked. Ron nodded. Yes, for the most part, Ron said. Just know that I'll be watching. And if you mess up, you'll pay the price you should have paid a long time ago. Got it? Mike nodded. Good. Now, do you have something to say to us? Mike nodded again. I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll never do anything like that again with anyone, he said. Please accept my apologies and forgive me. Ron looked at his wife. What do you think, dear? He asked. Should we forgive him? Well, dear, she said, we truly believe in forgiveness. So yes, this time, we'll forgive him. Ron loosened his grip on Mike's throat. He looked at his wife. So what do we have for dessert? He asked. I made a really delicious cheesecake, she said. Boys, would you like a slice? Ron looked at Mike, who was shaking with horror. Well, how about dessert? He asked Mike, who shook his head. No. Thank you, he said. I really need to go home. Ron noticed Amy looking at Mike's pants and glanced down. He saw a wet spot on Mike's crotch and shook his head. Yeah, I understand why you needed to go home, Ron said, noticing the smell coming from Mike's pants. Go on, get out of here. And remember what I said. I will, Mike said, heading towards the front door. They both noticed the wet spot at the back of his pants as he made his way out. Can you believe he actually shit his pants? Ron asked. Yeah, disgusting, isn't it? Amy responded. And he actually thought he'd fuck me. Maybe I should bring him a box of chocolates tomorrow. Ron laughed. Hearing screeching tires, Ron turned to his pretty wife. Oh God, I'm so damn turned on for you right now, she said, taking off her panties. She ripped off her dress and sat on the table where Mike had just been sitting, pushing his plate aside. She spread her legs wide and took off her bra. Take me, right here and now, she said. Ron lowered his pants and approached her. Do you think this cheesecake will last until tomorrow? Ron asked. Amy nodded. Oh yes, she said. Let's clean up this mess and then finish dessert upstairs, okay? Author's note. In 2013, a decapitated man with tied hands and feet was found in his garage. Tulsa, Oklahoma police confirmed it as a suicide but didn't provide details, hinting that the man had hanged himself. Thank you for being with us and listening until the end. If you found it interesting, please subscribe, give us a like, and leave your comments.